This episode is brought to you by Monogram. Welcome to the Design Dash podcast, your guide to designing a life you love. Join us as we explore the keys to living the life you want without compromise.
Welcome to the Design Dash podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We are hosting Megan Strasburg, who is on the Laura U Design Collective team. Megan has worked with us for 4 years. She is our director of residential design. So Megan came to us after having a career in architecture and interior. She has a degree in environmental design from A&M, Texas A&M. I guess there are other A&Ms, but we're based in Houston, Texas, so it's Texas A&M. She has a particular passion for historic renovation, which I do too. I share that passion, so get it. She revels in the process of breathing new life into homes while preserving their unique character and stories. Her love of her work stems from a deep appreciation of home, the emotional richness of spaces that not only reflect their inhabitants, but also provide a haven for making memories with loved ones. When she's not transforming spaces at LUDC, you might find Megan indulging in her love of baking, practicing yoga, or enjoying playful moments with her son and his trains. We hear a lot about trains in the studio, so it's really fun. And a fun fact, I also share this with Megan. A fun fact about her is that she believes a day without coffee is a huge problem and needs immediate repair, like coffee's gotta happen. So join us as we dive into her world of design. And I will kick us off with just like the easiest question, softball question, no problem. Just kidding. You know, I don't do that. So current pain points for your clients, like you're client facing, like you are talking to our clients all day, every day.
Yes.
You're also talking to the team. So I've got questions about that too. But as one of the people, the main points of contact for a lot of our clients, you have those relationships. What are some of the biggest and even like top 2 biggest pain points that you see with new clients coming into the studio?
Just from like what they're struggling with the project.
Yeah, what are they struggling? Not even with the project. Like they haven't even started yet. They're just I want to start a project.
Yes.
I'm in pain. What is that pain?
I would say that a lot of the time they just don't even know where, like who to hire or where to go, especially on the renovation side. They're like, what exactly do you guys do? And like, who do I bring in? Do I bring in the builder first? Do I bring in the designer first? And so it goes both ways, but I think that they're really looking for someone to just facilitate and handle all of it because they don't really know how to guide a team that big and who to hire and bring on. And so I would say from a renovation perspective, that's definitely the main thing that they're struggling with by the time they come to us. And then also they could also just be going down a rabbit hole with Pinterest and not really knowing like what exactly they're looking for. And they could come with no images. And so either is fine, but I think there's, a lot of the time it's picture paralysis a little bit. Like they don't know what to do.
Yeah. So it's building that team that's going to realize this vision that they may kind of have just from their rabbit hole searches in Pinterest.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Are the client, and I know the answer, this is not a trick question. The client pain is different when you're mid project.
Yes.
So let's say we're NCA. So we're in construction administration.
Yes.
That project is underway.
Yes.
What is the pain at that point? And how do you advise them? How do you advocate for your client?
Oh gosh. I feel like it usually hits during what we call rough-in. So before they put the sheetrock on the wall. And I feel like that in the ceiling. And so I feel like that's typically when it hits because we've done nothing for weeks or even months, but look at framing and electrical, like all the guts of the house. And so, yeah, I think that when that happens, we just try to like reset expectations, or we may bring back in like pictures that we showed them a long, long time ago and revisit all of that. I tell them to trust the process a lot. I may even say, just trust me. Like you're like kind of spiraling. I'm right here. I've got you. So just trying to keep them on like big picture, or really just resetting expectations on what's coming up. Like sometimes they just feel so lost because they're like, what is happening here? Why, like, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Why are my walls still open?
Yeah. Why did I do this to myself is usually what they're asking themselves. But
that's valid. I mean,
yeah,
when you're in the valley of despair, you're like, you can't go back.
Yes.
The only way is through, but
Yes.
damn, is that light at the end of the tunnel? It is so far away.
It is. And sometimes, you know, a lot of the time we're asking their why behind why they're doing all of this a lot, like months in advance. And when we do renovation design, we have like a very lengthy design process. It's usually like 6 months of planning. So by the time we're even in the, you know, at that point of rough-in, it could be a year since we started their project. And so I'll recircle back to the why a lot. One of the renovations we just completed, they wanted somewhere to put her aging mother. They wanted to have like huge gatherings for the family. So, you know, I may joke like, this will be worth it when your whole family is sitting here and, you know, eating Thanksgiving. So
I think it's a really valid point. The why. Why do we do this?
Yeah.
God, I've got to remind myself of that sometimes too. I know you do.
Yes.
So Melissa, I'm curious what questions you have, because we work day in, day out with Megan, but you're working with her in a really different capacity than I am. Like Megan's on our leadership team, which is how you guys collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I really want to go back to that first pain point, because I get this a lot from potential new clients that are coming in. They don't know where to start and they don't know who to go with. They're just like, hey, I'm contacting builders, I'm contacting architects, and now I'm contacting you guys.
Yeah.
Who do I hire first? What do you tell them?
Us. Us. I mean, you can go to the builder first, but like without plans or any sort of direction, the builder can't provide pricing and they can't provide information just yet. So I would say start with the designer for sure, so that you can start getting your bearings in order and then bring the full team on from there.
Yeah. So what if they have their builder?
That's
and
fine
now
too.
They're reaching out to you.
Yeah. As long as we like their builder, that's fine too.
We do. We like all the, that's not true. We like many builders.
Yes. Yes.
Many builders. We do like them.
No, that happens too. I think builders get brought on a lot and referred very easily from like word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So they may bring on the builder first if like a family friend used them or like a contact. So that happens pretty often.
I feel like the builder is something like, I know I need a builder. I am building a house.
Right.
So I know I need a builder, but they may not necessarily know that they need a designer, especially like that they need a designer in addition to their builder and to their architect. Do you feel like that's a difficult conversation? So like, is that why we have to go back to the why sometimes? It's like, hey, I've got 3 different people billing me right now.
Yes. Why? Yes. Right.
Ugh.
The why. The billing fatigue too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is going back to the answer about like they hire us first. They should call us first, hire us first. Like, of course, that's a control freak.
Yes.
Thought, and I have the same thought, obviously. Like, of course, they should hire us first. We can build the team. We have the resources. We've been doing this for a long time. We know everything that goes in.
Mm-hmm.
But to Melissa's point, they may be coming with a builder already, which actually seems logical. I'm building. I have a builder.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think that like having the designer on board, obviously, again, control freak, having us on board from day one just makes it such a better project.
Yes.
Do you have, so like, we have all kinds of different projects. Like we work on very different projects every single day. So do you have a project right now where you're working with a builder that maybe came with the project?
Yes. A few.
How's
At least one I can think of.
How are those going?
No, that one's going really good, actually. I'm enjoying that one. It's a good team. And see, sometimes that's nice because then it's a builder we've never worked with. And so if you're clicking with them and you're just building connections and, you know, collaborating with different industry partners, which is great. So that project in particular, it's a good team. And we've really enjoyed working with them so far. So
And so we've worked with difficult builders in the past. So like, let's say so in this podcast, I feel like we're talking to a client, right? Like we're talking to the end user, to the homeowner, more than a designer. But like taking the view of an interior designer or an architect, you have a builder that you're working with. You're here to advocate for our client. You're also here to do amazing work and protect your team and all of that. So you have a difficult builder. What do you do? Like this builder is so difficult that you are like, you can't even deal.
That's a hard one. It can get really stressful, but at the end of the day, we are here to advocate for the client. And so what you don't want to ever team up if it's that, I don't know, getting that testy, but if it is getting to that point, and the client's unhappy, the builder's unhappy, we're unhappy, I think it's just getting everyone in a room and just airing it out. But we can't ever come from a place, it's a fine line of advocating for the client, but also not ganging up on the builder.
Yes.
Because you don't want to also burn bridges with industry partners. And what if it could be another year before we finish a project. So, I have had a builder quit before, like at another firm, and he just quit halfway through. So it does happen, which is terrible. Nothing on.
I've never had to deal with that.
Yeah, it was a renovation.
I'm trying to think of a time that I've had to deal with that.
Yeah, he'd never worked with designers really, so he didn't like receiving direction. So in design direction, not construction direction, obviously. But I think just it depends on what the issue is. A lot of the time, I think it's scheduling. So like a contractor's behind schedule, and then tensions can rise because, they may point fingers that we're doing something design wise or, something to delay the project. I feel like anytime there's frustration, it's usually involving builder schedule. So just resetting expectations, getting everyone on site together to talk through what we can do to course correct. That's really all you can do.
The finger pointing point. I think is really important because that is something that we do not do at our firm.
No.
So even if it is a super difficult partner or builder or just somewhere we're misaligned somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Like we work with people that don't point fingers at us. Like we want to work with problem solvers that are here to advocate for the client.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yes. Good answer.
Well, and we always say that we want the phone call first, and then let's all discuss it as a team.
Yeah.
Without the client. And then we will bring the solution to the client, not the problem. So just really making sure that we have builders that have that mindset as well, because if we're coming to the client with every issue, it's just not healthy. So
that's not great.
No.
That's not guiding.
No.
So going back to the clients, what are some things that maybe they don't expect that you're just like, okay, you're entering into the next 2 years and it's going to be a challenge. What are some things that you think that they need to look out for that can help themselves prepare?
For a renovation, they definitely need to expect that there's going to be bumps in the road. We could open something. We have a renovation that we found mold, right? So it's, it just pivots the whole course of construction. And everything is manageable though. We can fix anything, but there will be bumps in the road and that will delay construction. There will always be things that are going to push the schedule back.
Yeah. And it's Houston. You will find mold somewhere.
Yes.
It's there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we don't know what we can't see. So once we start opening everything, there could be all kinds of surprises. So nothing's perfect. Everything can be fixed. Everything can be solved. There's always a solution, but just may not be a super affordable one, sadly. But just prepare for some surprises.
We'd like to thank our good friends at Monogram Appliances. We've partnered with Monogram for over a decade with our design firm, Laura Design Collective, and we're so happy to partner with them in producing the Design Dash podcast. Monogram sources the highest quality materials for their appliances, from commercial grade stainless steel to unscratchable sapphire glass, Monogram ensures lasting beauty and unmatchable quality for your luxury kitchen. And not only that, but they have an amazing team who we love working with, and we know you will too. So thanks, Monogram.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's a really interesting time, I think, and a really interesting environment, especially right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. When you're dealing with investments and talking about budgets with clients, what's a really good way to approach that? Because I know that, clients are going to have one thing that they want to spend, right? Yeah. And then we just want to spend whatever because we want to make it amazing and to make it amazing costs money. So, how do you approach those kinds of conversations, like especially right now?
Yeah, so there's a few things. At the beginning of the project, it's, just discussing overall budget right off the bat. So just setting those expectations on a price per square foot and overall cost that we're looking at. And then what we like to do is actually within the first few phases of design, very early on, is bring in builders to start pricing, so that we can go ahead and set expectations. Yeah. So by the time we even get into construction, we've already made so many pricing decisions that everyone's pretty much on the same page. But of course, we will always show, even finish wise, like what, we're going to bring some things to the table that maybe,
a little special.
Maybe a little special. We have our
wellness a little bit.
Yeah. But it's always like a balance. And when we have that pricing and we do that pricing exercise, we can easily say, this may be a little bit out of the budget, but we saw this, we loved it for you. And, we wanted to bring it to the table. So it really is up to the client on what they're willing to spend and where. And we do that just through even our discovery phase, like figuring out really what matters to them so that we can budget accordingly from there.
Where are some places that people should really splurge? Like, I think that there are some places that, you could save maybe. Yeah. I mean, I know we think that for kids' rooms because they're going to grow out of it in a year or so, anyway, depending on how old they are.
Hopefully we can get 5 years out of it.
Really the public spaces. So like your powder bath or maybe a bar. Dining room. So anywhere you're going to be entertaining to me is where we should be investing. Like your wow spaces. Even when you look at like lighting control, so keypads versus switches, we always say, if you can't do the whole house, let's do anywhere where we're entertaining so that you can set a scene in the dining room and set a mood throughout the space. So those are the places for sure I would recommend investing. And then it also depends on the client though, because if you have a client that loves to cook, I would say then let's give it to the kitchen, right? So maybe they don't entertain at all. Maybe they're a homebody and they're, don't really like to have people over and they just cook. Well, then let's put it in the kitchen. So it's really case by case, but the first thing that came to mind for me was the powder. Yeah. I just love a good powder.
You must be designing a powder right now that you love.
Yeah.
Or you need to.
I'm stuck on a little bit. It's on my brain.
Yeah, I think that's true. Even for my own home, the keypads, I'm so glad that I splurged and did it through all the upstairs, like the main part of the, I say upstairs because we live in the mountains. So downstairs is like the kid area. Kid area did not get the lighting control system.
Right.
But the main areas of the home did. And it is really nice. I use those scenes every single day.
Yes.
I can say to my system, like, we have a system called Josh. I don't know. It's called Josh AI. You could talk to Josh. So I say to Josh, I'm like, hey, Josh, it's wine time. And he will turn on my music. He will set the lights exactly like I like. So yes, splurge all day.
All day. All day. You can rename Josh.
I can?
Yes, because we had a client request that he still wanted to call it Alexa, but he needed the Josh system.
That would be so confusing because we also have Alexa and I talk to her for different things.
Oh, okay. So no Alexa.
Maybe I could rename him Bro. I could rename him Bro. Hey, Bro. Bra. Yes, Josh, who is this for the Alan?
Yes. Yes.
I will say Josh goes a little rogue sometimes. He has renamed himself Nefario before. So
Oh my God.
no, he says some sketchy things sometimes, so just give him a warning.
Okay. Good to know.
So, okay, we talked about a splurge. What challenges are you seeing specifically for like new construction renovation right now? Are you seeing like anything? Is there a trend in challenges?
I wouldn't say challenges. I mean, I think right now our team is really in like production mode. So we're doing a lot of design work and not necessarily in the throes of construction. We have a couple that are in construction. I think it's really just like time. Like there's so much. So that's what I'm experiencing right now with clients is like how long everything takes. And so I think they actually hit that despair mode, not just in construction, they hit it in the drawing and the production portion as well, because they've stopped seeing presentations. They've stopped, selecting pretty things necessarily and seeing all of that come together. It's a lot of like, hey, just sit back and we're going to wrap all of this up. And because
the wrap up can take 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not
or longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then that's just to get to permitting. And then what if the permit takes 3 more months, So that, yeah, I feel like that's definitely the biggest challenge right now, because I think that we live in a world where things happen quickly now. Yeah. And so when we say they want us to maybe throw it in AI and have it just produce this whole drawing set, and that just doesn't happen. So, yes.
I mean, trust me, we want that for them. We want this for you. If we could throw this into AI and save you 12 weeks, excellent.
Yes.
But as it is right now, you're right. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Yes.
When you feel like you've already made all these decisions in design, then there's this whole other phase that has to happen to actually put those technical things on paper to where it's translated into the build.
Right. Like you switch from the first half of design is, how can you explain it to the client on paper? And then the second half, once we get into construction documents, is how can I relay this to the builder through a drawing?
That's such a damn good breakdown.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
There's your soundbite.
It's the first time I've said that.
Is it really?
Yeah, it just came to my head.
I'm like, quick, someone write that down.
Yeah.
But it is so true. And it's true for furnishings design too. You spend all of this time putting the design together, proposing it to the client. They're making all these decisions. And then the procurement happens, and there's all the detailing that goes on, the ordering that goes into the system, the expediting, the dealing with the vendors. So on both sides of the design, the renovation construction side and the furnishing side, there's that big swath of time where clients are just sitting.
Yes.
And thinking, what is happening right now?
Yes.
Because they're still getting billed.
Right.
Yes, they are.
We're working. And
that's really the big bulk of the work is in those phases. And you're right. That's the time that they see the least amount of progress. Right. Like progress is happening.
Right.
And so, I think the only thing we can do is communicate.
It's communicate. Yes. I just had a meeting with a client, and we didn't necessarily need a face-to-face, but I wanted to sit down and explain where we were with the drawings. And it wasn't anything beautiful, right? But it was, this is what's going, it was a check-in, and just again, resetting expectations on schedule and what we're doing and what's going on and what they have to look forward to. And it was maybe an hour meeting, but then they just don't feel lost in the process, and they understand what's coming. They understand what's going on. And we have a really good, trusting relationship with that client, because we do those check-ins. And from the beginning, it's been that way. And so they're at this point, just, they're letting us go for it. So
love them.
Yeah.
Love them for that.
They're the best. Yeah.
And love that for them.
Yes.
So you mentioned touching base, because we need to talk about what we did before, how far have we come, and then what's ahead. We're really process driven in our firm.
Yes.
And we believe we espouse this guided design experience, because guiding is so important. I think it's the main part of our job, really.
Yeah.
So we have phases. So our process is made up of phases. Is there a phase that you feel like is most important? Are they all equally weighted?
They're all pretty weighted. I would say schematic design,
which is concept. So that's when we're developing the concept.
Mm-hmm. From a renovation perspective, it's we're showing them a floor plan, right? And we're saying from a 2-dimensional perspective, we're showing them a new layout, but we're visualizing it so clearly, but they aren't. So how can you translate that with just one set of drawings? So I think that's the most important, because if you don't relay it properly, we can get months down the road further into drawings with exterior elevations and interior elevations. And if we didn't properly explain what was happening in the house and in our head in schematic design, then by the time we get to those phases, they're like, wait, what does that look like? What did you do?
Yeah.
So just making sure that we're explaining it really well in schematic. But I think construction, so from a client perspective, schematic design. For us and making sure everything's executed properly, construction documents, because we're human and we make mistakes, and we have to do really good quality control to make sure that we don't send something out in the field that, could cause a problem if it's not built correctly. So.
And that's where the need for the time comes in.
Yes.
Because those construction documents can make or break a project for sure. Right. And make or break your relationship, the trust you've built with your client and your builder, because you may have this amazing concept, but if you can't translate that into a set of drawings, it's a problem.
Exactly.
I think that's what was so surprising for me, because I'm not a designer, but coming into the industry, you think, okay, it's so highly technical, but it's not highly automated. And I think we are in a very instant gratification sort of world. And so we just think, oh, well, everything is digital and everything's virtual and everything's quick. And this is not, it's deliberately slow. It has to be. And there are some firms that are even slower. And we're pretty quick, I think.
Yeah. We are quick.
There are some firms that are even slower. They don't have as many people, they're more boutique, they're just smaller. And I think that's really hard to articulate. That's really hard to get through, I think, to potential new clients, because, or especially if they've never worked with a designer before, at this level. It's just like, well, what's the difference between what you're doing between me going to my builder, picking out some finishes in their home center, going to, West Elm, and then furnishing it. And it is different, and it's slower. And I think if you're a client and you're trying to get into this, and just know it's going to be crazy, but also know that it's slower than
intentionally, thoughtfully, deliberately slower.
Yes. We're cultivating.
We are. And I think the difference is too, not only are we being creative, like that is a given, but we are mitigating mistakes, and we are saving money on the back end and saving time on the back end by putting that time into the front end to make it right.
Yes.
So yes, it can feel dreadfully slow.
Yes.
Or even I know what we're doing all damn day, and I'm still like, why can't we do this faster? But I do think we've developed this process over so long, and together, like Megan and Shannon and I together, I feel like we've got this as fast as we can possibly do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. I always tell clients either we wait now or we hold up construction, because at some point you're going to have to slow down to plan. And so we can, we've pushed drawings out before that don't have interior elevations or interior finishes selected, because they wanted to see demo done. They wanted to see progress made. And so we've agreed to, do elevations of the kitchen and pull the finishes while construction is happening, but it slows down construction. So either we're waiting now and then everything is mostly smooth sailing through construction, or we can make construction a pain, so it's either way you're waiting.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
But it's worth it in the long run.
It's worth it.
It is so worth it.
This is an art form. It's not meant to happen quickly. That's
right.
the thing. if you want it to happen quickly, then this is not for you. And that's okay. That's okay.
Here's a pain point, I think, for some people. Some clients, they question, should they move out during renovation? This is for renovation specific.
Yes.
The answer is always yes, right?
Yes. Hell yes. Do you have children? Get out of Dodge. Like, why are you talking about staying in the house? No, always. Because, you know, and I've had clients that move next door during a renovation, which that to me is even too close, because what you see is like they're constantly watching. It's such a process. And if they, you know, they can't really see exactly what's happening. And so to them, it's like slow or it's dragging, and, you know, to each their own. But I think
like watching a pot of water boil.
Yes, like just
it's never going to happen.
Get out of Dodge. Like, we've got it. Just come back in like a year. It'll be done. No, I would definitely say get out for sure. I think you need that separation. I think it's stressful. And so to just like not be able to separate from it is it's really too much.
And it's really not helpful, like for someone to live next door. You know what I mean? Like, that's not it. You probably feel like, ooh, I need to have eyes on this. Like, this is my biggest investment. This is a huge deal. I need to have my eyes on this, but you really don't. Like, that's why we're here.
Right.
Is to watch that. And there's even in my own projects, I've renovated, 6 of my own projects. And there's a point where I will tell the builder, hey, call me when we are at this phase. I can't come in here right now.
Right.
Because it's too stressful. And that's so coming from someone that does this for a living for the last however long, I'm not going to say. But there is a time when I have to just sit out and I'm like, I know what's going on. I trust you. Make it happen and call me when sheetrock's in. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that getting away is the right answer.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I've talked to clients about phasing. So like, can we do this half and then the next? Anything's possible. I mean, that's going to cost more money and it's going to just drag the process, right? Because then we have to like relocate them across the house and then start on the next one. But on the next side, I don't recommend that either. I mean, it's just not ideal. Like, why not just rip the Band-Aid off, move out, separate yourself from it as much as you can, and then.
Do you really want to supervise the construction of your house?
No.
Like, let's go do something else.
Yes. That's why if you build a great team, you don't have to supervise anything. You know,
yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be. That's why you're hiring builders. Yeah.
So I think we could talk about this all day, and we do. But what's something you're working on right now that you're excited about? Like something different that you're just like, this thing is insane. I can't believe I get to do this.
We have a condo build out happening in a residential high rise here in Houston, and it's really unique and different. And the design was so like drawn out because of the complexities of it. We have a ton of like ceiling details from, you know, the whole ceiling is lit, like all the way around the perimeter. It's kind of hard to explain because there's like so much going on in there, but it's just unique and it's different and it pushes the limits in a lot of ways, mainly because of the client and just like, you know, what he's seeking. And then just having to like think of these, like the things he requested when we first did the design, I was like, how am I gonna make this happen? Like, I don't even understand. Like, I have to tap into like every creative cell in my brain to like achieve what he's wanting. But I'm really enjoying it. Like, now that it's actually getting built, it's exciting. And
this has been a 2-year design process for this client.
2-year design process.
And that's not just because of us. Like, we changed design direction, like a full 180.
Yes.
Okay. Like, just to clarify, we didn't drag it out 2 years, everyone.
Like a lot. But it was all worth it. But the bar is really beautiful and unique. Like, it's just gorgeous. It's going to be beautiful. But even like the ceilings, like there's industrial piping running in the ceiling. And so the client and I have had a lot of back and forth on, you know, him wanting to expose every pipe and me telling him why we shouldn't expose every pipe. And, you know, so we have now met in the middle. We've revisited this at every site visit, and
We are exposing exactly 50% of the pipes.
We're exposing 50%. We met in the middle. And only the good-looking pipes. No ugly pipes.
Yeah. You're like, not every pipe is equal. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Melissa, anything before we wrap up?
No, I think that's good. I mean, it's a really good overview. And I mean, it's hard because, we talk about this stuff all the time. So I don't even know what our listeners are really interested in. But if you're listening right now, let us know. I mean, Megan can always jump back on and we can talk about renovation. We can talk about remodels. We can talk about challenges. We can talk about whatever you want.
Argue the benefits of exposing 75% of pipes.
Yes.
Well, thank you for joining us, Megan. We appreciate it. It's been really fun.
No, this has been fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening. Make sure to check out our next podcast coming live next week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. In the meantime, you can find us and more wonderful stories like these on designdash.com. And make sure to follow us at Design Dasher on Instagram and TikTok. Till next time.